brother of the person we have all gathered here for. I was, as they have referred to, Leena was my cousin sister, and it gives me great pleasure and honor to be with you and share my ideas with you on corneal transplantation. Everybody has heard about eye donation. Everybody knows that they are capable of donating their eyes after death. But you'll be surprised to know that there are so many myths and fallacies regarding eye donation. So I thought that maybe today it might be a good opportunity for you to understand some of the intricacies involved in eye donation. It is just not a noble thought or a noble deed that we perform, but a lot of sincere effort and hard work goes into even a single eye transplantation. So I just want to get some of these points to you. Can I have the next slide, please? So the first thing is we need to understand what is eye donation, what is the human cornea, and what is corneal transplantation. Next, please. Eye donation. First of all, the removal is only possible of the eye after death. There are a lot of misconceptions around that people can donate their eyes when they are alive. So you can't come to me and say that my sister is blind, so I want to donate one of my eyes to her. That is not possible. Eye donation is only possible after somebody's death. Unlike other organ transplantations, where, like for example, a kidney transplantation, which is taken from a live donor, because we don't have the proper legislation in our country. One sec. Donation is only possible with the expressed wish of the deceased. Means only if somebody pledges to donate his eyes after death can that eye be removed, except in exceptional circumstances where there is an unexpected death or an accident or a sudden major illness before the patient is able, then the relatives of the deceased can pledge to donate eyes after death. Third, the relatives have to give their consent. Without consent, an eye cannot be donated. And remember that of the entire eye that is donated after death, it's only the cornea or the front portion of the eye which can be used for restoration of vision. Next slide. So what is the cornea? The cornea is the clear transparent dome in the front of the eye. It can be compared to a dial of a watch. It's clear and transparent and shows the face inside. We always talk about people having green eyes and blue eyes, and I wish I had eyes like her. Well, that is the color of the iris which is inside. It is the clear cornea in front which gives the beauty to the inside of the eye. And therefore, the cornea is the most important structure. Everybody talks about the lens of the eye focusing the image on the retina. But do you know that of all the light that enters the eye, 75% of that light is first focused by the cornea. And the lens which is situated inside, which we've heard of, it becomes a cataract in old age, you take it out and put a lens inside, contributes to only 25% of the bending of the light. And the third most beautiful thing about this, it is the only structure in the body which is alive and does not have any blood supply. Now, how can a structure live without blood? We know that oxygen is transmitted by the blood to the various parts of the body. And without oxygen, as Santoshji just told us, you cannot live. Then how does the cornea live? The cornea has no blood supply, first of all, because blood is not transparent. So if we had blood in the cornea, light would not be able to travel inside. So what keeps this cornea going? How does it remain alive? The reason for that is the cornea breathes oxygen from the atmosphere. From the atmosphere, the tears dissolve in the, from the atmosphere, oxygen dissolves in the tears which are covering the cornea. And from the tears, the cornea imbibes oxygen. So if you have dry eyes or lack of tears in your eye, your cornea is going to starve for oxygen and its transparency will be affected. Next slide, please. This is the model of the normal human eye. I'm sorry, the photograph is not very clear, but it's a camera in which the shutter is exposed because the cover keeping the objective is open. Next slide. And this is a slide showing a camera with the shutter covered by a cover. And because of this will not be able to take images. Next slide, please. So what causes loss of corneal transparency. Why does the cornea, instead of being clear and transparent, become opaque sometimes? Most of the time, the cause is an injury. There's an injury, and whenever there's an injury, it is going to heal with a scar. And whenever there is a scar, the cornea is not going to remain transparent anymore. It can also be caused as a result of infection, as a result of surgical trauma, in childhood because of vitamin A deficiency and malnutrition. Sometimes it can happen because the cornea is undergoing degenerations with age. The corneal transparency is getting affected. Like, for example, I told you, people with dry eyes can very often get this kind of a problem. Because of corneal dystrophies, which are inherent conditions present from birth, as a result of which the corneal transparency is affected, and because of other eye comorbidities, like, for example, if you have glaucoma, then your cornea in an advanced stage can also lose its transparency. Next slide, please. Now, these are some alarming statistics. Do you know that there are 42 million blind people in this world? And out of the 42 million blind people in the world, 11 million are blind due to corneal disease. What is even more alarming is that 35% of the world's corneal blind lives in India. India is the capital as far as corneal blind is concerned. 35% of them are there. That is accounting for 3.8 million. And 60% of these corneal blind people are small children. So we have 2.3 million, that is 23 lakh blind children in India. We talk of India as a young nation. Our Prime Minister, when he goes abroad, prides and tells America that, remember, that 65% of the population in India is below 35. What he's forgetting is that there are 23 lakh blind children in India. And the number of deaths in Mumbai are about 75,000, maybe it's more. These are only official figures. And the donations of eye in Mumbai are just 2,000. How are we ever going to clear the backlog of corneal blind people in this country? That is only possible with voluntary corneal donation. Nobody realizes this. Each one of us will shake our heads today and say, no, this is bad. But let me tell you that till one of your family members gets affected by this disease, then you'll start clamoring, why are not more people donating their eyes? What can you expect the doctors to do when there is no available tissue? Next slide, please. What are the reasons for low donation? Next. Lack of awareness. Most people do not know that it is possible to donate eyes after death, and if you donate your eyes, not one corneal blind, but two corneal blind people can be affected, because both your eyes can be used for two different persons. Next. Religious bias. For some reasons, without intending to offend any community, people say that if you remove a part of your body and give, you're not going to go to heaven, you're going to go to hell. Okay? Legislation. It has become so difficult because the government in this country is so insensitive to the needs of the population that there are some archaic laws which prevent us from doing donation. Let me give you a simple example. If there is an accident or a highway victim on the road, he may be a young person who died because of rash driving. Nobody has probably come forward to collect the body. His organs are all good, waiting to be donated. In any other country, an unclaimed body becomes the property of the state. All the organs are harvested for transplantation, not in India. Next. And you require funds. You require sustained publicity for this to go on and on. Now, as I told you, looking at the thing number 2, religious bias. Do you know that India has the lowest corneal donation in the entire world? And do you want to know the name of the country which donates the highest in the world? Would you like to know? It is the smallest country next to us, Sri Lanka. 97% of people who die donate their eyes after death. And do you know, well, we can clap about this, but do you know that Sri Lanka now is in a position to export eyes all over the world? I completed my corneal fellowship in Queen Victoria Hospital in England. And out of the 7 corneal corneal transplantations we used to have in a day, 6 used to come from Sri Lanka. So that's because the Buddhist monks have told those people. I mean, it's up to our religious leaders that you donate your eyes after death, you're doing a noble service to God and to humanity. And people imbibe that, and people do it proudly. And I don't know why we can't do it in our country, because as you can see, that not even 0.1% of our people donate their eyes after death. Next. And there are some myths about eye donation. Go ahead. They feel that the whole eyeball is transplanted. So people come to me saying that he lost his entire eye due to an accident. Why don't you transplant an eye and give him back? Remember, it's not the whole cornea. That the donor face will be disfigured after removal of the eyes. Means you've had a death in the family, some doctor comes and removes his eyes, and you think that he will go with hollow sockets to his grave. No, sir. When a person comes over there, he removes the eye, he retrieves the eyeball, and he stuffs his eye appropriately, and then takes a very, very special frost suture. When you look at a person who has donated his eyes, you can never say that his eyes have been donated. It looks like he's in peace, his eyes are closed, because that is ensured after removal of the eye. Then people wearing glasses like me, or people who have had surgery before like cataract and glaucoma surgery, think that they will not be able to donate their eyes after death. No, it's not that. If your cornea is healthy, you can all donate your eyes. Some more myths. That cornea transplant is an experimental surgery. Now, nothing is farther than the truth. The first corneal transplant was done way back in 1860. That means this surgery is more than 150 years old, okay? So it's not experimental anymore. In fact, the results are getting better and better. When I was a resident in 1981, at that time the success of corneal surgery was only 45 to 50%. Today, the transplantation success is anywhere between 92 to 94%. So, there is a high chance that a person who is likely to be benefited is going to be benefited. Next. Eyes should be removed just before death. As I said earlier, eyes can be retrieved as per the law in this country or anywhere in this world only after death. You cannot remove the eye of a live person. And that people with other disorders in the eye, retinal disease or optic nerve disease, will also benefit from eye transplant. No, it's only if you're corneal blind. Next. And some facts about eye donation. Only the cornea, as I told you, is used for transplant. Next. Anyone can be an eye donor. You don't have to be old to die and donate your eyes. Even children, as I said, 23 lakh children in India are blind. Now, are you going to transplant an 80-year-old man's cornea in this child? No. There are also other children, and I'm going to show you pictures later on of children who have benefited with a corneal transplant, because deaths happen at all ages. Okay, the event has occurred. It has overcome you with grief and sadness. Sure.
मैं इतना पूछना चाहता हूँ कि आफ्टर 40 इयर्स आदमी को बेताला क्यों आता है?
हाँ,
और अभी समझ लो हमारे बच्चे लोग हो तो उसको अभी से क्या प्रिकॉशन देनी चाहिए क्योंकि वो लोग ये सफर नहीं हो बेताला से?
बेताला को कोई ट्रीटमेंट नहीं है। ये इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि जो मसल्स, जैसे मैंने बताया कि दूर का देखने के लिए हमारी जो लेंस है वो ऐसे फ्लैट होती है, और नज़दीक को देखने के लिए हमारे आँख के मसल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होते हैं, और उसकी वजह से उसका शेप ऐसे बल्ज होने लगता है। जब वो बल्ज होता है, दूर की किरणें स्ट्रेट और पैरेलल होती है, तो वो रेटिना पे फोकस होती है। और जब आप छोटे हो, 40 या बेताला की उम्र के पहले, तो आपकी लेंस ऐसे फ्लेक्स हो सकती है। उस उम्र के बाद आपकी तबीयत कितनी भी तंदुरुस्त हो, कितनी भी आपने ये किया हो, थोड़ा थोड़ा उसके मसल्स वीक हो जाते हैं सब लोग को। मे नॉट हैपन एट 42 फॉर एवरीबडी, कभी कभी 45 और 48 तक भी आपकी नज़र नज़दीक के लिए अच्छी रह सकती है, पर बाद में थोड़ा थोड़ा नंबर आने ही लगता है। प्रिकॉशन, वेल, ये तो होना ही है, पर आप उसको थोड़ा बहुत डिले कर सकते हो अगर आपने शुरुआत से ही पढ़ते समय अच्छा लाइट का इस्तेमाल किया, लेट के नहीं पढ़ा, मुंह मूविंग ट्रेन्स, कार्स, व्हीकल्स में नहीं पड़ा। अपना डाइट, जैसे संतोष जी ने कहा, अगर पहले से आपने उसके बारे में ख्याल किया तो थोड़ा बहुत आप डिले कर सकते हो, पर आने वाला तो है ही सबको।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
या
In cataract surgery,
हाँ,
doctors are generally saying the lens has been fitted into the eye.
या
What is this procedure they are actually?
what is this?
This procedure.
Yeah, see, when you are having a cataract, it's the natural lens in your eye which has become opaque due to age. The purpose of cataract surgery is to remove this opaque lens and refit an artificial lens in your eye. This procedure is known as phacoemulsification today, if you are employing a phaco technique of removing the cataract. Otherwise, if you are not employing a phaco technique, then it is called as extracapsular cataract surgery. Cataract is removed. The last layer of the cataract, the outer skin, is kept intact, and a lens is put inside this eye to, fill that space. And with this lens, that 25% refraction which I told you is once again obtained. 75% is from the cornea, 25% is from the lens. Yeah.
आय स्पेशालिस्ट डॉक्टर्स मुंबईत किती असतील अंदाजे?
1,500.
मग तुम्ही जेव्हा डॉक्टर आय स्पेशल होता तेव्हा काही अशी होत असते का, तुम्ही स्वतः आय डोनेशन करणार?
नाही, असं काही होत नसतं. आय डोनेशन इज व्हॉलंटरी.
ओके.
हिपोक्रेटिक ओथ इज मॅन्डेटरी.
नाही, मला फक्त म्हणायचं की 1,500 डॉक्टर्सनी स्वतः आय डोनेशन जर केलं तर आणखीन दे आर द बेस्ट पीपल.
1,500 नाही, तुम्हाला 3,000 लोक मिळतील साहेब. तुम्हाला 3,000 मिळतील. हे 1,500 एकाच वेळेला जाणार नाही. दे विल गो ओव्हर. या
अच्छा सर, असं काही ऐसा कुछ है क्या कि चश्मे की जगह पे लेंस हम आंखों में डाल दें और चश्मा नहीं रहे?
हाँ, दैट इज पॉसिबल.
आंख के अंदर मतलब?
हाँ, दैट इज पॉसिबल.
तो उससे नंबर नहीं बढ़ता है?
नहीं, क्योंकि जो देखो, इट शुड आइडियली बी डन आफ्टर द एज ऑफ 45 के बाद उसको करना चाहिए, क्योंकि 45 के बाद नॉर्मली आँख का नंबर कॉर्निया की वजह से चेंज नहीं होता. वो चेंज होता है हमारे अंदर लेंस के कारण, जो 45 के बाद नंबर चेंज होता है. तो अगर आपने वो लेंस को निकाल दिया और उसकी जगह पे क्लियर लेंस डाल दी, जिस सर्जरी को हम प्री लेग सर्जरी कहते हैं, तो उसके बाद आपका नंबर मोरलेस परमानेंट हो जाता है. ये नई टेक्नोलॉजी है.
कैटरैक्ट होने का चांस नहीं होता है?
कोई कैटरैक्ट होने का आगे चांस ही नहीं होगा.
अरे वाह.
हाँ, या बट
कॉस्टली भी होगा?
हाँ, जरूर एक्सपेंसिव है. जितना आप सोफिस्टिकेशन जाओगे तो फिर ऑफ कोर्स सर्जरी विल बी कॉस्टली. यस.
नमस्कार, माझा प्रश्न अगदी सरळ आणि साधा आहे.
हां.
की तुम्ही एक स्टेटमेंट केलं की जीपीना ट्रेन केलेलं असते.
हो.
तर आपल्या घरी येऊन जीपी तो आपले डोळे म्हणजे मरणोत्तर काढू शकतो का आपल्या घरात येऊन?
हो, घरात येऊनच करतो तो.
धन्यवाद.
हां, पण हे बघा, त्या जीपीला ट्रेनिंग करायला हवं. बिकॉज विदाउट ट्रेनिंग यू कॅनॉट गो. तुमच्या जीपीना सांगितलं घरी या, त्यांच्याकडे साधन लागतं. एक आमचं आय न्यूक्लिएशनचं किट असतं, एन एंटायर बॅग. ती बॅग त्यांच्याकडे असायला पाहिजे. इट शुड बी इन अ स्टेट ऑफ प्रिपेयर्डनेस, स्टराइल वगैरह.
आसपास जो भी लोग हैं वो आकर के कर सकते
नहीं, वो कोऑर्डिनेट हेल्प करेंगे, बिकॉज सी अल्टीमेटली आई बैंक के साथ कोऑर्डिनेशन करना पड़ता है.
बट देन एट दैट टाइम एक्सपर्ट्स विल कम टू योर प्लेस एंड दे विल. You need not call your GP.
No. And they go. Now say for example you are living in Bandra, but you have rung up some Sion hospital, then Sion hospital will come, even though Lilavati hospital is next to you.
Yeah.
So they will come.
सर,
Yeah.
फिर से एक बार, जो अभी एडवर्टाइज आती है कि भाई आपके आँख के चश्मा का नंबर निकाल देते हैं, तो वो कितना सेफेस्ट है आगे के लिए जनरेशन के लिए?
अगर आप लेसिक से ये बोल रहे हैं, लेसिक के बारे में कह रहे हो?
लेजर किरण में बहुत अभी तो
हाँ.
एडवर्टाइज इतनी आती है कि आधा घंटे में आपका ऑपरेशन हो जाएगा, आँख से चश्मा निकल जाएगा. वो सेफेस्ट कितना है?
नहीं, वो सेफ है सर. इट इज सेफ. इट्स एन एक्सेप्टेड प्रोसीजर. हाँ, बिकॉज अभी यहाँ पे बम्बई में 22 साल से हो रहा है वो. एंड जो अभी लेजर चल रहा है वो 7th जनरेशन लेजर चल रहा है. तो इट इज अ वेरी सेफ प्रोसीजर. वेरी सेफ.
डॉक्टर साहब नमस्कार.
नमस्कार.
मुझे 2-3 चीजें पूछनी थी. आज जो एनवायरनमेंट, वातावरण में इतनी दूषित है, जो डीजल धुआं बोलिए और धूल मट्टी गाड़ियों का एकदम पोल्यूशन, और कॉलेज के और छोटे बच्चे जो स्कूल में जाते हैं, इवन बड़े लोग भी जाते आते हैं, उनके आंखों को सेव कैसे किया जाता है। और दूसरी बात है, वो लोग किसी भी दुकान में जाके जो पढ़ने वाले सामने का चश्मा लेते हैं, छोटे छोटे पढ़ने के लोग कहीं भी दुकान में जाके बोलते हैं मुझे सामने का चश्मा दे दो पढ़ने के लिए, और कुछ भी ले लेते हैं, ये आंखों के लिए ठीक है क्या। तीसरी बात, जो बच्चे हैं अभी जो भी स्कूल्स में जाते हैं, अब उसी समय से अगर बच्चों को फल फ्रूट, आजकल तो फल फ्रूट वैसे भी सही तो आते ही नहीं है, जो भी है मिक्स तो कुछ ना कुछ होता ही है उसमें, और उसके लिए जो फल फ्रूट या ग्रीन वेजिटेबल्स जो दिया जाना चाहिए, जिसके कारण उसके उनके आंखों में, पढ़ने वाले बच्चों के ज्यादातर मैं बोलूंगी, हालांकि 50 के बाद तो आंखों में चश्मा चढ़ता ही है पढ़ने के लिए। ये 3 क्वेश्चंस है आपके पास, उनको बच्चों को क्या खाने को सही देना चाहिए, जो यहाँ जितनी माताएं बैठी हैं, बहनें बैठी हैं, या जो भाई लोग बैठे हुए हैं, उनको भी पता लगना चाहिए, जो छोटे बच्चे शुरू से जो स्कूल में जाते हैं, खाने के लायक हो जाते हैं, तो क्या ग्रीन वेजिटेबल या क्या फ्रूट्स देना चाहिए जो आंखों की रोशनी तेज हो जाए। थैंक यू।
पहला आपका सवाल था रिगार्डिंग पोल्यूशन, राइट। तो ये तो दूषित वातावरण है, वो तो इट एम्प्लॉयज टू एवरीबडी, आई एम ऑल्सो अफेक्टेड बाय इट। तो ये तो हम खुद तो नहीं कर सकते।
उसके लिए आंखों का आई ड्रॉप,
हाँ
फ्रेशनेस के लिए कुछ है?
हाँ जरूर हाँ। सो देखिए, जो लोग स्कूटर 2 व्हीलर्स चलाते हैं एंड दे डोंट वेयर अ वाइजर, कॉन्स्टेंटली उनकी आंखों में डस्ट और मिट्टी जा रही है, तो फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट घर लौटने पर या ऑफिस पहुंचने पर पहले अपना पूरा चेहरा और आंखें अच्छे धो ले। दे शुड always, because you have taken a ride in a very polluted environment. अगर आपको भी accidentally pollution का exposure हो जाए तो you have a good wash, और उसके बाद you can use some drops just to keep the eyes clean. तो उसमें the safest drops to use are refresh tears. Refresh, if you remember refresh, it is very safe, and but I don't want to say that, or give a brand to you, because then I am not promoting that brand, don't get me wrong, but I'm just, since you asked me, I just said it in a very friendly gesture. That's number one. As far as the other question is concerned regarding क्या उन्होंने खाना चाहिए, देखिए जैसे आपने खुद कहा कि आजकल you cannot trust even the vegetable, you cannot trust the fruit, so I cannot tell you that don't have this or don't have this, because I don't know what that source itself is. But yes, all green leafy vegetables, all your palaks, all your yellow colored and orange colored vegetables, seasonal fruits like mangoes, papayas, are extremely good for your eyes. Even the dried dates, khajur, is good for your eyes. So these are things you should give your child in plenty. Most of the time, the child has a problem not so much because of nutrition, but the child is constantly misusing the eyes. Tell me which child is not playing computer games and video games and tablets. All of us are doing it all the time. So these are habits which should be discouraged, as far as possible. हाँ तो होता है ना, these are children who are going to get dry eyes later on, because जब आप कंप्यूटर पे बैठते हो, सभी लोग, जब मैं भी खुद कंप्यूटर पे बैठता हूँ तो मेरी आंखों की पलकें इतनी झपकती नहीं, ब्लिंक रेट कम हो जाता है, ब्लिंक रेट कम होने के कारण आंखों में फ्रेश टीयर्स आते नहीं। दूसरा, ब्लिंक्स के बीच में जो इंटरवल है वो बढ़ जाता है, उस बढ़ने के कारण आपकी आंखें ओपन रहती है काफ़ी टाइम तक, उस समय में आपके टीयर्स इवेपोरेट होता है। जैसे मैंने पहले एम्फसाइज किया, आंखों में आंसू रहना हर वक्त बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसके बगैर आपके कॉर्निया को ऑक्सीजन बराबर मिलेगा नहीं। तो अगर हमारी आंखें ड्राई हो जाती है तो दे आर गोइंग टू सफ़र। हाँ, आज नहीं, पर यू आर गोइंग टू एज फास्टर इन योर आईज एज कम्पेयर टू द रेस्ट ऑफ द बॉडी। So everything has to be done in moderation. I'm not saying don't give these devices to children. अगर वो आप नहीं देंगे तो वो अपने ज़माने से पीछे ही रह जाएंगे. But there has to be a kind of a, I'm not going to answer a question if you ask how much time. It's not for me. It's for you to decide what is an appropriate time. But yes, too much of anything in excess is not good. Definitely. नहीं, हाँ, तो वो जो चश्मे हैं ना, दे आर गुड फॉर टेम्पररी पर्पसेस। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, आप ट्रैवलिंग कर रहे हो, बीच में अगर आपको ज़रूरत लगी तो ठीक है, बट दोज टेम्पररी ग्लासेस, उसकी ऑप्टिकल क्वालिटी है, हर कांच की एक एबी वैल्यू रहती है, So if that Abbey value is not good, it's not very good because it's a cheap quality lens as compared. Oh, 100-150 रुपए में मिल जाते हैं. They will never be as good as a 500 or a 1,000 rupee glass. Yeah, so you must remember that. Yes. But there can be still a noble thing that can be done. A child dies accidentally in your family, you can still donate the eyes because that's the wonderful, most wonderful gift that you can do. Next. And there is no disfigurement, as I told you, of the donor's face. Next. Some more facts. Cataracts and glasses are due to conditions in the lens, not the cornea. Next. This is what I told you. And this is exactly what I just want to re-emphasize what I've told you so far. Go ahead. Now, what was the situation of eye banking in India? Pre-1995, everything was in a disarray. At present, we have about 250 eye banks in India, and eye banks in Maharashtra are almost 1/5, that is 50. But these figures could change because now other states have picked up and they are not the absolute latest figures. And we have 22 eye banks in the city of Mumbai. Now, these are independent eye banks. They are hospital-attached eye banks, government eye banks. There is no tissue evaluation earlier on because, therefore, if your tissue is harvested, it still needs to be evaluated before it is transplanted. You can wish to donate your eyes after death, but if your cornea is not good, then the cornea may not be used. At that time, you cannot use it for a visual purpose, but it can be used in other surgeries also. And there was nothing done before that. There's a lack of coordination, or there was a lack of coordination between various eye banks which are in the city. And there was a very non-systematic tissue distribution. So someone had an influence, you would get. Now no more. Now everything is regulated. There is a waiting list number and it goes just according to that. Influence does not work as far as this is concerned. There's a decreased shelf life because it was not stored properly. As you know, eyes can be donated and they should be removed within 2 to 4 hours after death, maximum, not later than that. So eyes were removed at any time after 12 hours, then obviously that tissue is not going to be viable and will not be useful. And as a result of that, there was a very low success rate and the waiting list kept on increasing and increasing and increasing. Go ahead. In March 1995, everything changed. The Maharashtra Society for Donation of Eyes and the National Association of the Blind got together to form the Eye Bank Coordination and Research Center, EBCRC, as we know it today. This is located at KB Haji Bacholi Hospital, which is just opposite KM Hospital in Parel, not very far from here. Go ahead. So this was done in collaboration with the International Federation of Eye Banks and Tissue Banks, USA, the Eye Bank Association of India, whose headquarters are located at Hyderabad. The Bacholi Hospital and Masina Hospital in Bombay also became a part of this program. Now, all the EBCRC activities are conducted from the Haji Bacholi Hospital. Go ahead. And the objectives were very clear. This was to collect tissue, evaluate tissue, process tissue, give a systematic distribution to the tissue, make people aware of it, and train more and more personnel to come forward in this task. Go ahead. And the project, I hope, was born. It was a dream to make every corneal blind person see again. Of course, partners from Rotary, both national and international, came forward and helped in a big way to make this possible. Go ahead. So what should be the procedure in the event of a death? Suppose there is a death in your house or in your neighborhood and you wish to donate your eyes, you can always, first and foremost, keep the eye covered. If the eye is open at the time of death, make sure that the eyes are closed and keep them moist with a moist cotton wool on the eye till the doctors come to remove the eye and to use it for optical purposes. So all that you need to do is put cotton and keep on pouring water every 15 minutes or every half an hour so that the eye remains moist. Inform the nearest eye bank immediately. I'm going to give you a list of eye banks now, but I'm sure that wherever you are staying in the city of Mumbai, there's always an eye bank around. It's only that you don't know about it. and limit, if possible, the number of visitors to that particular room. If it is possible, keep the body in an air-conditioned room. You will be able to keep the cornea surviving much longer. It sounds morbid, but yes, this is what needs to be done. If, after all, you are going to do the ultimate gift of gifting a part of your body so that somebody is going to live again, you also want to make sure that the tissue that goes around is of a good quality. As the project I Hope, there are 3 H's which are the cornerstones or the 3 corners of the pyramid which make this possible. Home retrieval, hospital retrieval, and the human chain. The last is something very interesting, and I'm going to tell you about it. Go ahead. Home retrieval, it depends on family practitioners. In various areas of the city, such as Ghatkopar, Babulnath, Thane, Panvel, and Dadar, the local eye doctors, home doctors or the GPs or the family practitioners, the family doctor, the favorite family doctor, is trained by people like me to be able to remove the eyes, because it is not possible for every ophthalmic surgeon to go to somebody's house and remove the tissue. First of all, you're not so very familiar with the patient, and the GPs who are always the first source point in the event of any health problem in the family, if they are able to be coming to your house and remove the eyeballs in a very scientific way, so the family doctors are the ones who actually come, and some of them in these particular areas have been trained. All the doctors in that area around there have been trained to come home and remove eyes. Go ahead. And there are various hospitals such as Hinduja Hospital, R.N. Cooper Hospital, Leelavati Hospital, where I happen to be the coordinator for the eye bank, Bombay Hospital, Harkishan Das, BCJ General Hospital, that is Asha Parekh Hospital at Santa Cruz, KIM Hospital, Nanavati Hospital, and so many hospitals. Now, there are large, medium, and small size hospitals which have an eye bank facility. Go ahead. The human chain is probably one of the best things that has happened to eye donation. It's not just enough to remove the eye, but the eye has to reach the nearest eye bank in the shortest possible time. Given the conditions of the traffic that we have in the city, this is sometimes almost humanly impossible. But small organizations like the Tarun Mitra Mandal, which was founded in the year 1996, have come forward. So they have divided the city into 38 zones. There are more than 500 volunteers. And in the first year itself, they collected 172 eyeballs. Today, on an average, they collect anywhere between 800 to 1200 eyeballs per year. Remember, the number of eye donations in Mumbai is only 2,000 per year, as compared to at least 80,000 to a lakh of people dying every year. Go ahead. And this is a flow chart which shows you the way in which these eyeballs are retrieved from various sources, and through those relay boys, these are taken to the nearest eye bank where tissue processing facilities are available. Go ahead. So here is the eye collection set. It's an enucleation kit with which the person comes to your house. Go ahead. And these are the relay boys. These, if you ask me, are the heroes of today. These are people who are always in the background. Their names don't come forward. And you see those small little, boxes they have in their hand. They are known as igloos. A very appropriate name for a very sensitive organ that is taken by these people. If there's traffic, they will run. If a car is not available and they have to take a two-wheeler, they'll do that. But they'll make sure that the eyeball reaches the proper destination. And this is the entire eyeball collected in the moist chamber. So when it is taken from your house, it is put in the moist chamber, go ahead, and taken to the nearest eye bank where tissue processing facilities are available. Here the eyeball is first thoroughly washed with sterile saline, and in a very sterile chamber, in a very sterile environment, the eyeball is taken up for sectioning. Good. And this is the anterior section, because as I told you, only the cornea is going to be used for optical purposes. So the front portion of the eyeball is cut in a circular manner around the cornea, and it is this portion that is preserved in a medium called MK medium. So when you have the eyeball stored in an MK medium, it is viable for at least 7 days. But of course, it is always best to use this eyeball within 24 hours. There are even more expensive mediums which are available, in which the eyeball, or rather the cornea, can be stored for even 28 days or 1 month. Go ahead. This is the MK storage that I told you about. And then once the section is made, once the front portion of the eyeball has been taken out, it is evaluated on a machine that we call as a slit lamp, where the testing of the eye is done to find out whether this can be used for corneal transplantation. Go ahead. And this is a machine which analyzes the cornea, so it's a keratoanalyzer. Go ahead. And this is a specular microscope which tells what those endothelial cells at the back are. Remember, the endothelium forms the last layer of the cornea. If this is the outside of the cornea, the inside of the cornea is facing the inside of my eye, and these have to have cells which are responsible for maintaining corneal transparency. Every child is born with 6,000 cells per square millimeter at the time of his birth. And by the time you are 50 years of age, this has come down to 3,000. If the corneal cell count goes to less than 1,000, then the corneal transparency is affected. So obviously, where the tissue is collected from a very old person, you need to find out whether there is sufficiently viable endothelial cells for this cornea to be transplanted. Go ahead. And this is where the serology is done, where we find out whether there is any trace of HIV or Australia antigen or hepatitis B which can be transmitted. Many people worry unnecessarily that if I get a cornea from a diseased person, he's deceased obviously, but from a diseased person, he will transmit the disease to me. No. Every single tissue that goes through EBCRC is checked for all these viral markers which ensure that the quality of tissue that comes to you is free of disease. Go ahead. And there are other activities which I don't need to go into detail, but basically coordinating with various eye banks, improving public awareness, education, encouraging the youth to come forward. We want more young people to pledge their eyes now itself. Go ahead. And there are various training programs that we organize so that more and more personnel can be brought under this umbrella. Go ahead. The EBCRC is only one of 5 eye banks in India to process more than 1,000 eyes per year. Go ahead. And this is what we do. We remove the central diseased portion of the patient's eye, and we put the tissue in the center and suture with a cross-running suture. Good. And these are actual photographs of patients who have been operated by me. And yeah, we would like some background music, but a little slowly. Huh? So, which you can see that the opaque portion of the center has been cleared, and a clear graft has been put in place, and the patient is able to see again. And get another close-up picture of the same eye. Go ahead. And you can see that if the central portion of the cornea is clear, it doesn't matter if the periphery is opaque. If the central portion is clear, that is enough for you to go by. Go ahead. Some more pictures. Now this is interesting. Most children who come to us come with such bad corneal scars. I mean, this was a person who had been attacked by a sword. And this is what had happened to him. His eye was totally lacerated. It took several months for the inflammation to be controlled, almost 1 year. And after that, we decided to go ahead with a corneal transplant. And this is the result after the corneal transplant. And this child is able to see again. These are actual photographs. Go ahead. And this is a photograph of the same child's eye. As you can see, there was a lot of distortion inside. He required surgeries to control his glaucoma. But now this child is seeing well again. A more close-up of that same child. Go ahead. And these are other photographs. Go ahead. Some more corneal transplant successful cases. Go ahead. Go ahead. Again. And yet another one where there was complete destruction of the iris. So we had to do a pupilloplasty to give him a pupil back again. And then on top of that, he had a successful corneal transplant. Go ahead. Some more photographs of the same patient. And this is another case where, the iris was completely damaged, and we did a pupilloplasty along with a corneal transplant, and the patient is seeing well again. Go ahead. Yes, one more like that. Go ahead. Go ahead. And this is a patient who had no iris at all, was born with a condition called aniridia. That means that beautiful brown eyes or the hazel eyes or the blue eyes or the green eyes, that iris tissue was not there at all. At the same time, the cornea was opaque. How opaque the cornea is, you can see in the periphery that the cornea was totally white. So to look at the child was completely, sorry, this is not a child, actually it was a lady, a grown-up lady, who had a complete opaque cornea, and now the center is clear again. Good. And that same patient on slit lamp, you can see that there's no iris there. She's now waiting for an iris repair or an artificial iris so that she can get some focusing function there. Go ahead. And this is a case of an acid burn. You know, somebody had flung acid into his eyes and the cornea was damaged. Go ahead. The same patient's eye before the surgery. Go ahead. And this is the outcome after a corneal transplantation. Go ahead. One more like that. So to summarize, we have a very, very high incidence of corneal blindness. And there is a very low rate in which we are pledging to donate our eyes. Public education is the need of the hour. And the most important thing which I want you to understand is that corneal transplantation is today a safe and effective procedure. So all of us should pledge to donate our eyes. Go ahead. When this child came to us, there was seemingly no hope, came from a very remote place in Maharashtra. There was no hope for this child. But as Martin Luther King said, that together, if we all make an effort, as patients, as friends, as sympathizers, we all have these two precious little gifts in our body, which we can give to somebody even after we are no more. And we can overcome all these obstacles. And today, this boy is seeing again. Thank you so much.
सर, मैं पूछना चाहूँगी, किसी को कुछ अगर सवाल है तो पूछ ले. हाँ जी.
Sorry?
Is not improved. What can be the reason?
No. See, it all depends on the age of the patient. Near vision is dependent upon the focusing ability of the lens within your eye. The lens within your eye is capable of changing its shape. If it is flat like this for seeing distance, when you look at a close object, it contracts and becomes bulged like that. So with a corneal transplantation in a child where the lens accommodation is kept intact or is intact, he will see near also. But if you do it in a person who is above 40, who starts getting reading glasses, he is going to get a number. Also, remember that every corneal transplant is going to require glasses after surgery, because the shape of our cornea is unique to yourself. When you're getting a different shape from your shape, from a donor, obviously you are going to have a number because of that change in shape. So every corneal transplant, there is going to be always a small number. Small or large, there is going to be a number. But if you do it in a child, the child has accommodation within himself, so he will be able to see at near objects.
But in case which I know, the distance vision was not improved even after having the lens or this specs of a highest number.
Yeah. Now, see, it depends. Now, if, for example, the cornea shape is very irregular after surgery, then glasses may not provide the correct vision. In that case, this child needs to remove sutures selectively. There is a test known as corneal topography, because at the end of the procedure, every suture is not tied with the same tensile strength. It is not humanly possible. So the shape of the cornea can sometimes be irregular. So we do a topography, find out which sutures are tight, release them, so that this child comes within the normal parameters for prescribing glasses. If that does not happen, then we require a corneal transplantation. A contact lens, as you said. If you say the child's vision or the patient's vision is still not improving despite glasses or contact lenses, the only possibility is that the graft has got compromised.
That means it is not properly done.
Maybe not properly done, may not have been successful. See, after all, your body has to accept the tissue, right? As I said, today you are having about a 92% success rate, but 8% yes do fail. So they can have a regraft. I know of one patient who has had 17 corneal transplants in one eye before he could get vision. And he was a patient who used to work, he was the general manager of one of these very big paint companies. So when he had gone on site inspection, something was gone in his eye. These are very difficult cases. You need to sometimes repeat this thing.
That means it can be repeated.
Any number of times.
At any age.
At any age, yes. Any age, yeah. So if this first one has not been successful, you can always do again.
सर मेरा एक सवाल था, डायबिटीज या ब्लड प्रेशर के कारण भी विजन पर असर होता है?
हाँ.
तो वो उस असर को हटाने के लिए कुछ प्रिकॉशन ली जा सकती है क्या?
जरूर. Diabetes or blood pressure के कारण, should I speak in Hindi or English? Okay. See, patients who have diabetes and blood pressure, they normally lose vision because of vascular changes in the retina. The blood vessels of their eye start leaking initially fluid, then they start leaking proteins, and then they start leaking whole blood. So there is leaking blood within the eye. So they lose vision. Now, to answer the second part of your question, can this be prevented? Of course. If you keep your blood pressure and diabetes well controlled, there's no reason why you should develop hypertensive retinopathy or diabetic retinopathy. And once you've had this disease, you have to take appropriate treatment in the form of lasers, or nowadays you get injections which can be given. And once this is controlled, for life this patient needs to control his blood pressure and diabetes regularly.
With the medicines and all.
Yeah, of course, yeah.